Welcome to the Hobby Jogger Podcast, where elite athletes and ham and eggers lace up their stories. We explore the common ground that running creates, from the world-class runner to the hobbyist hitting the pavement, trail, or treadmill. Expect a blend of inspiration, laughter, and the shared joy that makes every step count. Join us on this journey where every run is a story worth sharing. Welcome to this week's episode of the Hobby Jogger, where I am once again joined by my co-host with the most, Mr. Rob Myers. Rob, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. Excited about this podcast.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one. Today's guest, very special guest. He is an 8-time Emmy nominated, I guess we would say artist, editor, producer. We'll get more into that, I'm sure. He is a red-bearded Viking and has the greatest beard I have seen, possibly over ZZ Top. I don't know. And he wrote the intro and outro music for us. Mr. Bryan Parker, how are you?
No complaints. Happy to be here.
Did I get all that right?
I'm not much of a producer. I'm a sound supervisor and sound editor, sound designer,
okay.
Sound person. Yeah,
sound person. So to me, it's all, I don't know. I'm very layman when it comes to sound. They don't even let me edit this show. So
I'm sure you've produced something at some point, Bryan.
I've been productive in the past. I'm not saying I'm not productive. I'm just the word producer means something different in my world. That's all.
Gotcha. Well, you did produce our intro and outro music, so thank you very much for that. It's awesome.
Happy to. Yeah, that was fun. Rob was looking for some music, something that had a little bit of pulse to it, and I was like, here's a bunch of stuff you can have for free that I've made over the years. Let me know what you want.
We like free here at the Hobby Jogger. So
we do. It fits in the budget.
Perfect price. So Bryan, we have you here on the Hobby Jogger. We'll save the Emmy stuff for a little bit later because I kind of want to hear about your running. First, though, I want to hear about the beard. Your sister told me that you have to roll it up. Is that correct?
Yeah. I started doing that in maybe like 2011 or 12, like after like the 3-year mark, when it's hanging like below like a shirt collar, I started braiding my beard. Actually, at that point, I think I was still twisting it and pinning it just to give it a little bit, just to keep it on the head, just to make it look a little bit more like a regular art teacher beard and less like a person who doesn't care. I don't know. I braid it really tightly, and then I roll it up. I make like a little pocket that the beard sits in, and I pin it from the sides using Amish pins, just to keep it all contained. And that way it's a lot more safe around barbecues and power tools and stuff too.
Yeah, it's got to be a little hazardous. Because it's down halfway down your thigh. It looked like in the picture that.
Yeah, it's at this point it's down to my knees. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's how long has it been going?
I shaved clean in 2008, and I was in Los Angeles. I had no car and at that time no motorcycle, and so I was just riding my bike everywhere. I came home with my panniers full of groceries. I came home from a grocery trip, and I was like, it's too damn hot. I'm starting this thing over, and shaved down to the skin, and just like didn't recognize myself, and was like, no, let's never do that again. So that was when it started clean.
It's crazy how much it becomes an identity for someone. My buddy Chris, who I co-own Branch with, recently took a job where he had to shave his beard, and he's had it since I've known him. And he was like, he got kind of like, he started lifting and got a little bit, bigger, and shaved his beard, looked like a totally different human being. Like that was his identity. And it's crazy how the beard does that. Like I know when I shave, people, whoa, what'd you do?
My friend Eric Redpath has always had a big bushy, like he has a great beard, dark, really dark brown with occasional red hairs in there. And he went from like a 2-year beard, like 2 inches longish, shaved to the skin, and then went to a party, like someone's, I don't know, house party. This is back in Columbus, Ohio. and just went to the party, sat down somewhere, and just watched all of his friends walk by and not recognize him at all for the first like half hour. And he was like, okay, this is old. Hey, it's me.
Yeah, but you've had your beard for what, a third of your life? I mean, it really tells a story, because when you put it down, there's no gray from like your belly button down, right? So you can see exactly when you started going gray. Yeah.
That's
Rings on the tree, right?
Yeah, precisely.
That thing's awesome. Yeah, when Rob sent me the picture of you running, looks like the rock and roll half.
Yeah.
I was like, that is awesome. That is a lot of work, is what that is. I know, a lot of work.
Well, I mean, the actual growing of it requires no input from me at all. I just have to pull it out of the things that it gets tangled in along the way.
Yeah.
Because like the milestones for a beard this long are like, a loop of hair got caught on the top button of my button-up shirt. Okay, fine. And then, I felt my beard tickling my shoulders. And then a little while after that, like, I have to be careful to move my beard out of the way when I wash my hands in the sink. And then like, today was the first day my beard got caught in my zipper. It's always just annoying milestones.
Getting into a car, where's my beard? Before you shut the door.
Yeah, actually that's
putting on your shoes,
that's
where's my
not funny.
beard?
Next thing I want to get to is you've been nominated for, just jumping right into because I'm just staring at these speakers and this microphone.
Mm-hmm.
You know a lot about sound, you know a lot about music. And we've had an author on the show. We had a doctor. We haven't had a doctor, have we, Rob?
No, I'm not officially a doctor. Had a lot of smart people though.
Had a lot of smart people, but we've never had an Emmy nominated anything on the show. So what were you nominated for? Because I was looking through your IMDb a little bit. Mm-hmm. And what's that like to make it to that level of what you do?
Yeah. For me, it was in a couple different waves. I got a handful of nominations when I was working in nonfiction television. One of those shows was Whale Wars. It's about some activists who like got a boat and decided they were just going to go physically stop whalers from whaling in the Southern Ocean. Very intense experience for them. And the cameras and audio team down there in those hostile conditions can only do such a good job of capturing what that environment is like, when subject to the winds and mists and splashing water in that environment. The technology doesn't really capture it that well. So we tried to recreate the feeling of these huge swells and winds and storms, and the boat creaking as best we could. And so we put a lot of work in, like way beyond the budget of the show, because my boss who mixed that show said that he wanted this to be our, he specifically wanted to go for awards on this show. And I was like, all right, let's go get it. So we put a lot of time and detail into it. And I'm really proud of those seasons for sure. A couple of the other shows that I've been nominated for in the nonfiction reality sort of world, or like The Amazing Race, which gets nominations pretty often. I don't know the years, I don't know, that I was nominated. I don't know that I contributed specifically. My particular talents made the difference there. But the Amazing Race is still a real fun show to work on, and
it's a fun show to watch. I mean, the earlier seasons, it's still pretty good.
Yeah. It's one of the shows where it's actually a huge chunk of that show is about the connections between people, connections between family members, and I don't know. It's not Real Housewives, it's people being like, hey, you did great today. I'm really proud of you. It's it feels good, right? Actually accomplish something and then express positivity between people. And American Idol, we did, I did a handful of seasons of that too. And that's a music show. And so the recognition for our sound work is sort of inherent, I think. So that was sort of my first volley. And then I went through several years where I didn't get any nominations for what I was working on when I was working on mostly really small indie films that, you know, some of which got good distribution and some didn't. So I wasn't really in a position for a while. And then more recently, got a nomination for The Underground Railroad, probably the best project I've ever worked on. And last year I got a nomination for Mrs. Davis, which I was really proud of because it was the first time I'd been nominated for a show that I was supervising as a season one. I was, you know, a principal storyteller, department head, decided what that show sounded like, and the voters saw that we cared, you know, and we made this. It's not based on any other thing. You know, the show is an original creation by Tara Hernandez and Damon Lindelof, and we like made this weird world. I'm extremely proud of it. I wish that more people had seen that show. It's called Mrs. Davis. It's on Peacock in case anyone wants to check it out. And we made this bizarre world, and sound was at the forefront, I think, of a lot of what made those scenes really jump out. So I'm really proud of that one. And then very recently, you know, just a few weeks ago, I found out that I was a part of the team that was nominated for Masters of the Air, which is on Apple TV Plus.
Masters of the Air?
Yeah. So that just went down. So we'll see on September 8th. So when the that ceremony is, we'll see. I got to put on my suit and
Hey folks, if you're loving the stories, tips, and laughs we're dishing out, make sure you don't miss an episode. Hit that subscribe button so you're the first to know when a new episode drops. And hey, if you've got a second, why not leave us a review? Your feedback helps us improve and keeps this running community growing. Lace up, hit subscribe, and let's get back into the show.
Fingers crossed, man. You deserve it. One fun fact about the Emmys: Bryan proposed to his wife on the red carpet.
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's pretty awesome. That's hard to top.
very cool.
Right. I figured I was wearing the suit already, right? I was like, I knew I was looking good that day. I figured like I just box her in, you know, like I figured there's no way she could say no. So that was my strategy. Worked out.
Yeah, surprise. It was very frugal. Yeah, why not?
Can't say no at the Emmys, right? I mean,
She could have, but you know, the probability I thought was low, so I went for it.
does your wife run, Bryan?
Jessica used to run when she lived in Venice, and has recently gotten back into it. She used because my wife loves old things, loves old architecture, and she's a very visual person in I think a similar way to how I process a lot of things through sound. And she loved running around the Venice canals, and our neighborhood currently doesn't exactly have that, but she's gotten more into it. She's found a park that she likes, and she has a loop that she likes, and she's like just getting back into it, and we're looking forward to maybe like finding like a 5K in a few months and running one of those together, I think.
So I think we've reached a point where we're at the running origin story, right?
Yeah,
Might as well start at the beginning.
yeah. That was where we're getting to the next part of how you got. I was thinking maybe your wife might have got you into it, but you seem to have preceded her in the running.
Yes. Well, two things happened around the same time. Last year, the Emmy nominations went out. Emmy nominations were announced, and I was really happy. But I realized my you know my third thought there was like, oh, I know for a fact that my suit doesn't fit, you know. And I'm not here to say that smaller bodies are better than bigger bodies, but I know for sure that I was engaged in some behaviors that I did not need to be engaged in, and letting myself feel way too busy and stressed to make better choices, activity choices, at that time. And I just thought, yeah, I need a solution, because I know for sure that my suit doesn't fit for the Emmys. So that happened. And at the same time, my friend Vince was sort of talking about running a 5K. And he had one in mind, the Dia de los Muertos 5K here in Los Angeles. And I was just like, without giving it too much thought, I was like, yeah, I'm in. Yeah, we're doing that. That's what's happening. It felt so good to like have a goal and be on a path with somebody that I trusted who was sort of starting in the same general place as I, like from scratch, going to run 5K. That's what it is, you know. And that's how it started. We both decided to use the Watch to 5K app, you know, like the implementation of Couch to 5K that is like it's all built into your watch. When the watch buzzes, you walk, and then when it buzzes again, you run again. That thing, make it that easy for me, and I'll just do it.
Is that part of Nike Run Club? Is it that app or is it a different one?
No, it's a different one. Watch to 5K is its own thing. And so we both started. Vince is also a sound person, and among all the sound conversations that we have, we also started talking about our run progress as well, like, you know, every week. So it was nice to be on that journey with someone and not feel like I was just out on my own. Like having someone to figure things out with was really nice.
That's always helpful when you have friends, especially it's the good side of Strava, I think, where, you know, you see your buddy just went out that day, you know, oh, I saw Rob ran 5 miles. I've been sitting here all morning. Like, what's my excuse? Oh, well, Rob did it. You know, I'm going to go out and run 5 miles too. So I do like that aspect of Strava. And
there's a thing there though, where I wasn't that inspired by knowing that, not on Strava, but by knowing that Rob was running 50Ks. Like when that was like completely outside of my world experience.
Yeah.
That wasn't that inspiring. That was just kind of weird, honestly. Right. And so like it
is weird, Rob.
It's a little weird, Casey.
It took like a little more familiarity with what the first few miles of that might feel like to even like contextualize that enough to derive an inspiration from it, which is why having a friend start from scratch was such a big deal.
Yeah. You got to be on the same level. You got to be playing the same game.
Yeah. It's like similar enough to where it's okay to say like, hey, what hurts more today? Like your heels or your knees? Right.
Always the shins too. Always the shins.
I don't really have trouble with that.
That's good. Knock on the wood.
My heels, bro.
Well, it'd be like if, you know, the first runner that you ever meet, Casey's Jim Walmsley. You're like, yeah, I can't do that.
That's not inspiring at all. That's just an alien.
That was like the third, I guess.
Yeah.
After his brother.
Yeah. Well, you are pretty unique there.
Yeah.
You met a lot of very fast people early on.
Yeah, wasn't good. Wasn't good for the ego for sure. Gee, you do what? How fast? You're out of your mind.
For a living? What?
What? That can't be.
Yeah, that's an aspect that I still don't understand at all. Like, I know that it's usually like rude to talk about money, but I just don't understand the economics of a lot of these professionals at all. How any of that, I don't get it. It's dope. No shade.
I think there's very few. I'm talking mostly of what I know. I think there's very few at the top who do very well. And then there's a lot who are working at the shoe store, the pizza shop, the bike store, you know, as the real job, and then running as
right. This is how I get free shoes and fuel.
Yeah, you know, that sort of thing. I think that happens quite a bit. I think there's very few pros that are actually bringing home very good money, if I had to guess. But I don't know. I'm not an expert in
like in the music world. There's these days I don't know, but historically there have been a fair number of musicians who get by, you know, have like a 20-hour a week bartender job or whatever, and then like 2 tours a year, 1 record a year. Cool. There are not that many musicians who like do 2 tours a year and are also a dentist, right? Like you have to commit. You have to like allocate enough of your brain space, not even brain space, enough of your brain hours every month to this thing in order to keep it sustained at all.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the beautiful thing about running, right? I mean, you can technically be sponsored and still have a regular job.
And do y'all know a fair number of people in that position?
we've talked to quite a few.
Yeah. Yeah. I have no frame of reference for that at all.
So you went couch to 5K. You right off the couch, right, Bryan?
Yeah. I live in a neighborhood where half of my neighborhood's really hilly and go on long dog walks. That was like as much physical activity as I'd had.
Walking's a great place to start.
I've done bicycle tours and stuff before, but yeah, walking 2.5 miles with the dogs was like the extent of my physical activity when I started. Watched 5K.
And that's a good start. I mean, walking is good. That's progressing towards the ultimate goal of running. So we are bipedal humans. That's good.
They are similar. You're right.
Yeah.
And I think the hills help too.
Yeah, for sure. And then I just looking here, you then decided, well, I ran a 5K. Now I've got to step up to the next distance and run a half marathon, correct?
Yeah, pretty much. I signed up for a 10K after one or two 5Ks. I saw a little bit of time improvement in between the two 5Ks, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna sign up for a 10K. Decided to do the Chinatown Firecracker 10K.
Nice.
And then I got my first injury. I was out for. I was just building up my distance. I was just working on volume, not sweating the pace. Really cool. 5 miles, 6 miles, great. 7 miles. Oh, let's go a little further than 10K and be really ready for it. 8 miles felt pretty good. And then I went off for a 9-mile run, and about 5 miles into that, knees felt a little weird on a downhill. It's fine on the flat. Started to go uphill, felt some pain again, really hesitant. Fine on the flat. Downhill, a little bit of pain. And then the next uphill was like, there's no way. Absolutely not. No, not happening. Walked for another, half mile, tried to run a couple times, and eventually had to bail. I had to call my wife and ask her to pick me up from the pain in my left knee. So then that took me on a little detour, obviously, and I went to my old friend, the internet, for answers. So burned a couple weeks there before I got some real help.
Yeah, I've done that. Yeah, I've been there.
I mean, you want to try, you want to try and figure out yourself, but like, man, that is a messy topic to try and get real information about your specific situation, right? I think we've all been like, why do we even bother? Here's my deal. Why do we even bother naming IT band syndrome? All that means is it feels bad from there to there. Like that's not a diagnosis. That's nothing specific anyone can work with at all, right?
Yeah. I get the internet thing. We just had the flu in our house, and my girlfriend was convinced that she had a tick bite and that's what was causing it. She's like, I Googled it. I was like, well, do you see the bullseye anywhere on you? Because it's like a big bullseye when a tick bites you. She's like, I'm looking everywhere. I was like, I don't see one. I was like, it's not a tick. She's like, it's a tick. The internet said it's a tick. It's a tick. I was like, no, I promise you it's not a tick. So then we ended up getting the flu.
Typically the tick's still there. They don't just bite you and like walk away. Thanks for, a little bit of blood, right? They're burrowing into your skin.
They're pretty happy to have a home.
Yeah. They're in it for the long haul. Yeah. They're not. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. And I've had a few of those. Yeah. Like the IT band. Yeah. It's just like a general term for my leg hurts, I think. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every runner's had that at some point, and it's very painful, and it takes a long, long time to recover from.
Yeah. And there's no cure. The internet is less helpful than anything. It just,
and then the momentum that took out of, that's not true. My perception of the momentum that would take out of my running was huge, right? It's because I had like, all right, 5K, another 5K, a little bit of improvement in time. The next thing is 10K. Like the notion, like I was making enough progress and feeling so much better, like literally every week, that the notion of taking 3 or 4 weeks off, I was like, oh my God, it's over. Like I'm like, I don't know how I got the motivation to get this far in the first place. I'm never going to get this again. Right. But now I'm like, it's been a year. Right. So 3 weeks, like a 3-week detour, like it doesn't really sound like that much, right? Does it? There are people, you break your leg, you're literally on crutches for 9 weeks, and then you've got to do rehab to build the muscles again for another 4 months, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But you stick to a running plan like no one else have ever seen, Bryan. I mean,
Oh, is that true?
oh yeah. Yeah.
I have taken the plan pretty seriously. And so the notion of taking 3 or 4 weeks off and having to fix this other thing, I don't know. I mean, it seems obvious now, but like you do have to do other exercises to strengthen the muscles you're using while running. You can't get better at running only by running. Super unfortunate, total drag. Not at all how I would have designed that, but here we are. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's Rob, we've learned quite a bit about that on this show, huh?
Oh yeah. Yep. Yoga, and more yoga.
Yoga seems to be the common, absolutely 100% the common theme of everyone that we've talked to is they all do yoga.
I think that yoga is poorly marketed to chubby men, so I don't participate in that. I think that they focused way too much of their marketing energy on thin white women, and I just disapprove. So as a result, I don't do it.
I agree. It's like that. Clearly, it's not for me. You never.
That's my excuse too. I mean,
Hey, see, it's big yoga. They have it out for us, I think.
Yeah, the trappings of big yoga.
They don't want us to enjoy the fruits of all the yoga. So yeah, I get it.
So yeah, dug up some information on the internet about what might help relieve some IT band syndromes, IT band syndrome symptoms, and then you start foam rolling for whatever the hell good that does until you actually figure out where to put the thing. And came across a few like, okay, let's look at runner specific exercises for core and for mobility and strength. Found a few of those that really seem to make a difference. So like by like rolling my butt and getting that to relax and doing some like leg lifts and clams and stuff, felt like I was making some progress there, but not really enough to get going again. My knee would still hurt after like 2 miles or something. So I got some pro help from a physical therapy place in town called Victory Performance, PT. And that was magic, pretty much. Just having a real person like put their hands on your leg and like, okay, lift your leg. Don't let me push your leg down. Yeah, your glute med is not strong enough, Bryan. That's not where you want to be with that. And like, try this. Show me what you can do here. Okay, we're going to work on that too. So just having a pro, someone who like actually understands bodies and anatomy, say like, these are the behaviors I'm seeing. This is where I see opportunity to build strength. We can make the pain go away by this and this and this, but we have to be really regimented about these exercises. Can you hang? And me saying like, I'll do anything. I'll do those exercises every day. It made a big difference. And so then when that firecracker race came up, I ended up doing another 5K instead of the 10K just to play it real safe, but got a time I was real happy with. And then basically immediately went in for starting to train for the half marathon with all that new knowledge and those new exercises and a foundation where like every single day for me, it's, planks, clams, leg raises, donkey kicks, like this is, if I want to do that other thing, I have to do this. This is I have to eat these vegetables, every morning for whatever, for 20 minutes.
The rest of your life.
Probably.
I kind of went through something similar just recently with my back and, got away from doing all the stuff that you just said, like the donkey kicks, the leg raises, the planks, and the back started hurting. And, she was telling me, you got to go to the chiropractor. It's like, I don't need to go to the chiropractor. I'll just run through it. It'll be fine. A week later, can't run at all. Can barely walk. Going to go to the chiropractor now? I was like, going to go to the chiropractor now. Get down there. He puts you in the ball, hey, hold your breath real quick. This might hurt a little bit, snaps the hip back into place and step down and back doesn't hurt anymore. It's like, wow, really should have been taking care of myself a lot better. So it's definitely an important aspect of running is the strength. And
is that something you do a lot? You see a chiropractor often?
Now since I hurt my back, I'm going twice a week. And the difference in pain, I went in, like my toes were like a little bit numb, was having a tough time even walking without being in pain, like short stepping every right foot. I went in there, he put a heating pad on, electric stim for, I think like 15 minutes, maybe we'll say. And he's like, okay, come to the back. I'm going to stretch you out. And I was like, I'm not real limber, doc. Like, this might be painful. He like had my legs and like pressing on my hip and I could feel it like right where it hurt. He knows he's been doing it for 1,000 years. So he knows what he's doing and does the other side. And he's like, all right, I'm going to adjust you. Get on your side. has one leg straight, the other one, he's like, this might hurt a little bit. Your hip's pretty far out of line. It's like, yeah, we'll be all right. Don't worry. So he just takes his palm of his hand, just shoves it into my back, and I could feel the pop. And I like see my hip move. I was surprised. He was a little bit surprised, which made me nervous.
Whoa, that's not supposed to go that way.
I was like, I should be surprised. You shouldn't be surprised, Doc. Like he's like, that was a little bit more than I thought it was going to be. As soon as I stood up, pain-free, completely pain-free. But he goes, that was pretty intense. You're going to be sore for the next few days. Come back next week, have a few appointments with me and it'll get much better. And that has been the single most thing that I've done to ever take away back pain like that was the chiropractor.
And so have you been running in between times? You like in the sore days, like after an adjustment like that?
After the initial adjustment, I walked around the neighborhood. I was still like sore to the touch now on the back from all the inflammation of him adjusting me, I guess. So I was able to walk. Then he did it on a Monday. I was able to walk during the week, and I actually went for a hike Saturday and Sunday, and then I was able to run on Monday. Progress was made. I have an appointment tomorrow and Monday as well. 100% recommend if you're having issues, hip, back, go check out the chiropractor because I've never had such relief in such a short amount of time.
Do you talk with the chiropractor about the root causes of what's causing the need for those adjustments in that case? Like, do you attribute it to like a pinched nerve or like a building up of muscles unevenly, or do you not get into the mechanics of like what caused it in the first place? You just like
you're giving me entirely too much credit there, Bryan.
I'm going to grab here and I'm going to pull here and you're going to hear some noises and you'll feel better
right.
again.
He's just like, I live for the crack. Just get in a position. I'm going to do the thing.
Yeah. Get me out of pain, Doc. Yeah. Dr. Rook is his name. He's in Fairlawn. Excellent chiropractor. I honestly, I didn't ask him. I was just so happy to be pain. Like I didn't even all I did is I walked in there. I said, here's where it hurts. He pointed around like, does it hurt to touch? I guessing because I didn't ask him because I didn't want to know really. He knew exactly what it was and because he put it right into place. I mean, so I'm
I guess I just wonder, like, is there something different that could be done to your regular exercise regimen to at least reduce the frequency of those adjustments to help to force your body like into the shape that it should be in the first place,
See, now you're giving me questions to ask him tomorrow. See, I should have had this podcast before I went in there.
I'm sorry we had to push. I'm sorry.
No, it should because you're 100% correct. I should be asking those questions rather than just kind of, walking in there and walking out like, oh, everything's better. Like, yeah, like, is there things that I can do strength wise to help out my hip and back
that's the stuff I get curious about. Like, our bodies get shaped into certain ways over time, especially, north of 35 or 40 or whatever. And some of the routines that we like this is my desk at work. I'm hunched over this desk at work like, it's been a 14-hour shift and my client's still not happy or whatever. And like, I wasn't born that way, right? So like, I can potentially turn my body into a different shape by strengthening different muscles than the ones that get, quote, strengthened, unquote, by me hunching over a mixing desk all day, right?
Yeah.
One of the most fascinating things that I have found about revealing things about my own path through running thus far, obviously I'm still very new to it, doing the mental triage of like, this is the difference between discomfort and pain and a likely injury, right? Like my heels are just tense and painful pretty much all the time. These days I'm working specifically on building strength in my calf muscles to mitigate that. But like, that's the main thing that like, it's just super tight when I start out. And when I'm done with the run, I come downstairs from the parking garage at work or something. That's where I'm like, that's just painful all the time now, but it's not an injury. And 10 months ago, I couldn't have sorted that sensation into a bucket that was labeled like painful, but not a threat. Like just roll your eyes at this. You don't have to be concerned about it, which is, kind of where it is now. And that that sensation that you get for me, just past, like right around 10 miles, where you're like, yeah, this is uncomfortable and we still have a few miles to go. That thing that's like steady state uncomfortable, not like let your animal instincts kick in and stop the activity, uncomfortable. It's a different thing than like actual pain you should probably address, like a pebble in your shoe that you have to address right now to be able to continue. Like continuing into the discomfort is its own thing. And then sorting out the difference between a pebble in your shoe and like a knee you're probably doing damage to, like an injury that's going to steal 4 or 5 weeks from you, like mentally separating those things. Not something I would have thought about before I started running at all. And now I'm parsing that information constantly,
Casey, what did Andrew Blaze say? He brought that up on the podcast, how he's always sore. So that's just norm.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean he's hurt. He's just always sore.
It is a big thing. Like, you got to be able to differentiate for sure. Like, is this going to blow up, whatever body part to the point that I need surgery? Or is this just,
I mean, it's an important thing to like, to at least, assess.
Yeah.
Right?
It's the hard, back to not being a professional runner. If I can't work, I generally don't get paid. And, I don't want to be out for 4 weeks of work with a knee injury from running, because I just ignored the pain. It was like, it's just a nag. It's fine. But yeah, I'll have to go back and listen to see what because he's a California guy, big Strava guy, runs tons of miles. He run 4 years worth of 100-mile weeks, and is running 100-mile races seemingly every other week here in the summer. And yeah, it's just try not to get injured. And injured, you're always hurt. Something's always hurting. Like you said, your heels are always tense. Like, there's always going to be a pain somewhere, especially our age. We're old. Right, Rob?
The soreness reminds you that you need to go for a run. If you're not sore, then it's been too many days since your last run.
Why do I feel so good? Oh, right. I'm not doing the thing I supposedly enjoy.
Well, like, the way I judge it is, if I don't thaw out of it after 2 miles,
yeah,
like, it's all right. Something's wrong. It's not just me being sore. It's not just,
right,
quad sore or whatever. Like, there's probably an underlying issue that I can't just, ignore anymore. And we'll get some sort of, I'll run to the internet to diagnose myself as generally
Perfect.
the perfect cure for it.
So, Bryan, what's next? When are you going to run the marathon?
Well,
I know you're looking at it.
I am. But like, for me, like, I'm enjoying this part of it so much that I'm all about the slow goals. I don't want to go in for the marathon too soon and then feel like this is factually untrue, but I'm pretty sure that my brain would serve this up to me, just to preface it. I don't want to like train for the marathon, pursue the marathon, and complete a marathon too soon and be like, well, that's it for road racing. I did it. I did road racing, and I've been enjoying it so much and benefiting from the improved fitness along the way so much that I just want to just keep pursuing goals slowly. So at the moment, what I've been doing since the half marathon is basically just sharpening my 5K, trying to work on my foot mechanics better. I think I have rolled on the outside of my foot too much for too long, possibly because of marching band. And I think that I've seen much, much better comfort in my heels, actually, by, just working on foot position and working more on like landing on the ball on my foot and the heel of my foot at the same time, instead of going around the outside, that kind of thing, making sure I'm not overstriding, working on those mechanics and kind of sharpening my 5K time. I've been getting my, mile and 2 mile time faster for fun. And, I don't know. In terms of what's next, I'm eyeballing another half marathon in Santa Fe in September. I might do that. I just this morning, I looked at what that date was and looking at the volume I've been doing for the last couple of weeks. And I'm like, oh God, I've only been running like 12 or 14 miles a week. I need to get that a lot closer to 20 miles a week for that half marathon to even be in the realm of possibility at all. So I'm going to try for a week or two to get back on a half marathon plan and get ready for that. And I was looking at a real, just like a 5K trail run down in Palos Verdes, to sort of dip my toe in that water because only because you've been pressuring me to do that enough that I think it's probably time.
Well, the good news with that, Bryan, is you will fit right in with the trail people. They're just gonna be like, oh, this guy runs trails, must run trails every day. As soon as they take a look at you.
Oh, because of the Forrest Gump thing?
With the beard, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a trail runner right there. That's our guy right there.
Yeah, take it slow. Take it slow, because once you go past the marathon, it gets weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely gets weird out there. And the best thing I would think is, build up a base of gradually stepping it up, and things go a lot smoother for you. I feel like
slow goals, man. I know this is going to sound weird for a lot of folks. I am so into my job. I love what I do at my work so much that I'll take these detours and do things that I'll get real passionate about X, Y, or Z, whether that's vintage motorcycles or deciding to make an album or getting into vintage vans, repairing tube amps, whatever. And I'll do that for a while when things are a little bit more tame at work for some months or a year or whatever. And then a project will come along at work that needs my entire attention for, long nights, long weeks. And I'll just abandon everything else. I'll just my entire, fuck your work-life balance. My whole life is a job. And not in a resentful way, not in a bad way. Like, I get really into what I do. And I don't want for that to be what happens with me in running. I want to continue to find a way that this stays woven into my mornings for the rest of the time that I draw breath, if at all possible. So I'm trying not to go so deep as to burn out on it. Just here we go. I'm just trying to pace myself. Hey.
I think that's a big thing, because I do see a lot of people that, and I hate it when I read about it. I'm going to go out and run 100 miles. It's like, you have no idea how far 100 miles are. Like, why don't you go out and do the 5K around your neighborhood first, and then maybe reassess the situation? So what you're doing is the optimal plan, what people, I feel, and I could be wrong, should do, rather than, I'm going to go run 100 miles. Because, like Rob said, as soon as you get above the marathon, it gets weird.
It's awesome, but it's weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's as far as I can tell, it gets really non-linear at a couple different places. Like, I mean, you two run distance enough, you probably forget this, but like, running 10 miles does not feel like twice of what running 5 miles does. There's something really non-linear that happens somewhere between 9 and 10 miles for me that is like, it feels like a different activity entirely.
Yep.
And I'm sure that continues, if not in that same direction, then in a different and weirder direction at some other breakpoints along the way. Like, maybe, I don't know, maybe 10 to 20 feels about the same, and then north of 20, the ball game. I don't know, but I know for sure it's not a linear thing.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not. Like 10's different. Then probably the next one is, I think, 18. And then around 23, then the 50K mark. And then above the 50K mark, for me, it just gets, you're not supposed to be doing this, dude. Like, mine's like, bud, it's a nice bench over there.
Yeah.
Looks pretty good. So you're 100% right. It is not linear. It is, do they call that a J scale, Rob? Is that what it's called? The J?
Exactly.
It is definitely a J. You're 100% right, Bryan. It is definitely a J. And you got to be able to sustain the J. And
one of the things that I try to do to make sure that I'm sort of looking at it from all angles is, not all the time, not every week, but I try and run while high, like 25% of the time. Both in an effort to numb the pain a little bit and like alter my headspace a little bit and find that zone a little bit. If not easier, then a little sort of different on-ramp to that zone where you're just like, my legs feel like a wheel underneath me,
Yeah.
And it's been, that aspect has been really, really, really positive.
Now, have you tried anything else? Like, I know a big thing is like hallucinogenics as well.
That I have not done.
Psilocybin, is that I guess that would be the proper term.
Yeah, mushrooms.
So that we're saying
That I have not done.
Psilocybin?
Psilocybin, yes.
Let's go with that
Okay.
instead. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a doctor on this show. I'm the hobby jogger,
I only know that from Joe Rogan, so.
Yeah. I've seen people that have definitely experimented with that while running,
Yeah, I don't know about that. I'm glad it works for those folks. For me, I'd be a little. I don't want to. I would rather just put a nice aura around what I'm already seeing and not go the hallucinogenic route. Being a little bit stony, just going deeper into my own thoughts and checking in with my body through that lens has been really positive. But I wouldn't want my state to be much more altered than.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to just, take your word on that, Bryan, because, I would have no experience ever
Copy that.
Yeah.
Much love from California.
Yes, no, for sure. But yeah, it's a different mindset. Like I get it. Like, yeah, you're right. Different aura around it. Just I've heard it opens up your mind and
good, getting good and stony. Put some heavy metal on. It's a really pleasant experience.
Well, that takes us to your running playlist, my friend.
I was like, I gotta know what is on Bryan's running tracks here. I imagine it's a lot of stuff that's really cool.
It took a big shift towards the end of the half marathon train, not the end, but getting towards the actual half marathon race event in San Diego, because I was only listening to metal, mostly Swedish, mostly death, but not exclusively death metal, just to get going, just to tap into the core anger that is my primary fuel for running, and just to get my heart rate up and keep a pace and, just stay at an adrenaline drip feed. But in trying to pace myself, north of 9 miles, north of 10 miles, I was like, yeah, I really can't be getting myself too amped up on the first half of this run. Like, I really need the opposite effect for the first several miles. So I shifted my half marathon, and now I have like interval playlist, 10K, and half marathon playlist. And my half marathon playlist now starts out with literally Enya, like just
that'll do it.
The chillest on ramp I can get. Some medieval chants on there, Hildegard von Bingen, which is from like the 1100s. She's amazing. And then some just like relaxed stuff to build into it. Jason Isbell and a little bit of even Springsteen, whatever. And then after about an hour, when I feel like I need the boost, then I transition with something a little bit spacey. There's a band in LA called Death Chant that I adore. They're a newer band in the last 4 or 5 years to kind of get me into it. And then I just go all Swedish metal, just all
Swedish metal. All right. Yeah.
We're talking like Arch Enemy, Soilwork, and especially the big one is Amon Amarth, which is just all Viking death metal.
What? Wait, hold on. What's the Viking death metal band?
Amon Amarth, AMON. Oh, excuse me, AMON space AMARTH. And their album, if you want somewhere to start to see what I'm talking about, decide if it's for you. Their album Joms Viking, JOMS Viking, is a concept album, and it is perfect, start to finish. It's like I feel the first chorus like rise in my chest, and it's just all the adrenaline I need to power through. If I'm
I'll check it out. Right now, Timmy Trumpet's my go-to running music.
What is Timmy Trumpet?
He's an EDM artist. I'm not a fan of the EDM, like the scene of EDM at all, but his music is. I really like Timmy Trumpet. He plays the trumpet in a lot of his stuff, which is cool. But it's a lot of techno remixes. It's kind of got a little bit up faster beat, but it's not super like. It's not going to slam you like the Swedish death metal. You know what I mean? It's like.
Do you seek songs to match the cadence of your feet? or is that a different thing for you? Because I know that some people really they're like, this is my 150 BPM playlist, and here's when I need to do a 170 BPM run.
I don't do it purpose. Like, I don't have like a specific like beats per minute or anything like that I go to. But I would bet if we went through my playlist, they are all pretty similar to each other within. I bet they're within a pretty short range. Like, you know what I mean? I prefer stuff within that range when I do listen. But when I run trails, I don't take the headphones out.
You don't take headphones out on the trails, really?
Yeah.
You're there with your own thoughts? That sounds horrifying.
I just as the kids now say, I just raw dog it.
I guess the kids do say that.
Yeah, the kids, that's the thing now, I guess. If you just
Wow. I would find that tough.
Yeah, it's in the woods. Like if I go down, the towpath here in Akron.
I don't think I do.
It's flat, it's long, boring. If I go do that, I put the headphones in.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I do go faster days, I'll put the headphones in. But if I go back through like CVMP somewhere, I don't put headphones in. It's me, the woods, some friends if they decide to come along. Rob never comes because he doesn't live here anymore. So I don't have him as running.
It's only a 10-hour drive.
Yeah, that's all.
Plus, you don't invite me often. So,
No.
But I'm with you for races. I don't wear headphones, but for training, I do.
What's on your playlist, Rob?
Everything. I have Enya in one of my playlists.
I do not have Enya. Yeah.
Mostly heavy bands, though.
Who can say only time?
Who can say when the road? That's my singing debut and finale on the show right there.
We're going to edit that out.
No, we're keeping that. That's legendary, right?
If we're gonna sing snippets of our favorite songs, do you think I should sing some death metal?
Yeah. You have a guitar that shoots fire, yeah. That is one question I do like to ask. We had Bryan Thrower on, and he produces like trail running videos and stuff. Big music guy, and we had some interesting conversations about music. And I think there's you can draw a lot of similarities, or they're very parallel to each other, music and running. Like they go along very well together. Something to keep your mind off of the pain.
I benefit greatly from turning the music up loud enough that like that's most of my sensory experience, right? Like that just becomes like most of the world that I'm inhabiting. Actually, I was on a short run this morning. I managed to hit it. I managed to get into the place within like in under a mile. I got my brain like into the space where like the legs were just doing their own, and I was sober to be clear. Like my legs were just doing their own thing. I didn't really have to manage them. And I was able to like go think about stuff and keep a pace on. And I was like, oh my God, that's the shortest distance I've ever been able to find that with so far. I was stoked. But yeah, the music has to be up at a certain volume, and I'm paying attention to that music actively to get there.
Yeah, anytime you hit the flow state and you're just kind of just cruising through, everything feels super easy. Those are always definitely the best runs.
And it's also a measurement of time. Like I'll put on one album or two albums, and my goal is just to finish those two albums before I stop running.
Yeah.
I've been doing that a lot lately.
With stuff that you're familiar with?
Yes.
That's really useful.
I do listen to some, I listen to some albums because I know like 45-minute run, like Take Off Your Pants and Jacket's one of my favorite albums. So I'll put that on because it's like 45 minutes. So yeah,
I believe that Jom's Viking is about 42 if you want to try that one next, Casey.
I'm definitely going to, that's, what was the last new genre of music we learned about on the show, Rob? Gospel rap, was that it?
Gospel rap.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I gotta admit, Quinn Jensen was on the show and gave me a new type of music that I just had never kind of thought would.
Yeah, I heard that episode. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So now we got to start asking every guest, Rob. Who knows what we've missed, the treasure trove of music we've missed out on by not asking a simple question. Huh?
I think you should start with, I don't know, maybe I wouldn't go directly into the Swedish death metal. Maybe Architects is a better place for.
Architects might be a better on-ramp. It's a little more accessible.
Nice. Yeah, what was the other And I think that was it. Yeah. I don't should have asked the Hemmings. I bet we would have liked their music. Eli and Tabor.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they out there in Colorado, they probably got some bluesgrass or something going on, I bet.
I know my sister's been listening to High Life while she runs, and that might be a good one. You might dig that, like Western African guitar music, High Life.
No, yeah, all sorts of, not Taylor Swift, although I do like Tay Tay. Tay Tay is punk rock as far as I'm concerned.
I don't really know any of her songs.
I don't know many of them. Most people get mad when I say that. That makes me happy.
Oh, I wouldn't get mad at you for being happy, Casey.
I appreciate that. Well, Bryan, we've taken a lot of your time. You're busy. You're out there trying to get, hopefully you win an Emmy. I'm rooting for you.
Who knows? Thank you.
So we'll be watching for you.
Who can say where the road goes, Casey? Only time.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Hobby Job. We hope you've enjoyed our conversation today. And if you liked what you heard, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your support keeps us moving forward. Until next time, keep those feet moving and enjoy the miles.